Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Ben Yurden, and I'm going to be talking to you guys today about improvisational comedy. So, by show of hands, how many of you have heard of or done some form of improv before? Okay, decent amount, half and half. So, I'm just going to clarify anything you might not understand. So, what is improvisational comedy? It's really any on-stage theatrical performance where the characters, the plot, the storyline, it's all made up on the spot, usually by a one-word suggestion from the audience. That's what it's inspired from. Improv started in Chicago back in the 1950s as kind of like a rebellion to the status quo of pre-prepared, scripted, written performances, right? And ever since then, it's gotten a lot bigger. It's now a staple skill of performers both on Broadway and in Hollywood. So some notable people that have a huge background in improv are Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, and Steve Carell. So it's a show with no rules. Well, it's a show with no script, so how do you do the show? Well, there's rules. The number one rule is to yes and, right?
Yes.
Yes!
Yes.
Yes!
Again.
Yes.
Say it again.
Yes!
Make me believe it.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
So that's the number one rule. That's the unbreakable rule. What that means is if you come out and do a scene with me and I make a suggestion to you, you have to agree to it and say yes and add to it. So say, for instance, Brandon comes out to do a scene with me and right off the bat I say, oh God, Brandon, that's a horrible burn mark you've got on your face. Brandon would yes and me and say something like, oh yeah, sorry, I got it from making toast this morning, right? So the whole premise of improv is that it's a team exercise. So you need to support your partner, right? You need to be working as a team. And to be working as a team, you need to have a group mind, right? It's not one person doing a show, it's the whole of the sum that is performing. And you can't do that unless you listen to your partner. You have to listen to your suggestions, listen to what's going on, listen to the gifts that are being given. So the whole goal of improv is to play the game. And the game is essentially the premise or the gimmick of the scene. So with Brandon burning his face, making toast, that game could become he hurts himself in ludicrous ways, and we would play to that in our scene. So there's two forms of improv primarily. There's a short form and there's a long form. Short form is the one you guys have probably seen before. Short form already has a game laid out. It's shorter. You've probably seen it in Whose Line Is It Anyways, Wild Now, Drew Carey's Improvaganza, right? It's easier to turn into a TV show. Long form is really based off nothing, a one-word suggestion from the audience that inspires a monologue, which inspires scenes that an improv troupe will make just based off that one story, right? Some notable improv is Second City, Upright Citizens Brigade, and ASCATs. So here's an example of some short form improv that I've got from Whose Line Is It Anyways?
Things you can say about a movie, but not about your partner.
Oh boy, that was way too long. I can't believe how easy it was to get in here.
I hate the smell of stale popcorn.
Right, so that's an example of short form. That game was pretty straightforward, scenes from a hat. So long form is a little more advanced. Long form structure is you have an opening where they explain the rules of improv, and then they have a monologist. You get a one-word suggestion from the audience. And from that word, the monologist will tell a story, something personal that applies to him, and based off that monologue, 3 scenes will be performed by the improv troupe behind him, followed by a group game where everyone gets in and performs the scene. Afterwards, those same 3 scenes are performed again, but escalated. So say for instance, in Brandon and I scene where he burns his face making toast, the escalation of that could be, in the next scene, he amputates a limb by cutting his steak wrong or something, right? That would be the game. So that's long form in a nutshell. So you might be asking yourself, why should I care about improv? Well, here's why. The skills from improv can translate into your regular everyday life, both professional and personal. And a lot of businesses are realizing this. This company right here, Business Improvisations, was started by Bob Coolin back in 2000, right? And he had a background in Chicago improv, and he realized that his skill set could be applied to the business world. So he started teaching colleges how to do improv, and then he moved forward into companies. So far, he's worked with Procter & Gamble, American Express, Pepsi Company, just to name a few, right? So these exercises can help build teamwork, cohesivity, if that's a word. Improv, yeah. It helps build teamwork within your organization, and it helps you with problem solving. So what I want you guys to do, from knowing these rules, the next time you have a conflict in your life that you're dealing with, instead of trying to argue against it, try to fight it off, try yes-anding it. Try using some improv to fix it and see if your problem can get solved a little better. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for your time.